inkproducts.com will release a new refill kit, refillable cartridges, and a continuous ink system for Canon's new Maxify printers. This happens to be the MB2320, takes the 1200 cartridges, and the other models take the 2200 cartridges. We'll release both. Now we've been running the printer, and I've got an X over the magenta and exclamation marks over the black and the yellow. Press OK. Now these are the original starter cartridges. I'm going to open it up. Now that you cannot take these cartridges out of this printer anytime you feel like. The only way you're going to get them out, I'll show you another way, but I just pressed the button, I took the cartridge out. Now I'm going to show you how to fill this cartridge. This is the Canon original cartridge. I'm going to show you in the video, but we will have clear refillable cartridges like the 2200. We got 2200, we'll have the 1200. So you'll be able to, and by the way, it'll have a COC smart chip on it. No chip resetter required. So now I'll take this over in the bench and I'll show you how you can fill them. Now after you fill them, the ink level will not return to full. So fill the Canons. But you got to pay close attention. You don't ever let them run out of ink. Now you just can't go over and take them out anytime you feel like. There's a way to do it, and I'll show you. It has to do with a little gear inside here. Well, that will be later on in the video. If you'd like to see this, I took apart one of the Canon, the 1200 cartridges. 1500 cartridges are just bigger. Basically, they both work the same. There's a spring in a bag, and there's a cover, and then you're going to fill it up to the front. Now, I've got some I've already filled and put in the printer, but I want to coat it out. I want it to coat out. There's two ways you can do this. You can go in, and I can show you how to take the cartridges out without waiting till they go completely empty, which is a smart thing to do. But I'm going to run it till I get the red X, and then we're going to fill it. Printer, I want to look at the ink levels. As you can see, I already filled the black and the yellow. It didn't run out all the way, but I already did. It told me I was low and replaced the cartridges. So I filled them, I replaced them, but the ink level didn't go back up. But now the cyan I have not filled. That's the cartridge I'm going to show you in this video how to fill. And then the magenta one, that's actually a brand new cartridge I put in because I was testing something else. So now I'm going to go over and run some solid blue test sheets, and then that will coat out that cyan cartridge. Then I'll show you how to fill it. And all the rest to fill exactly the same way, except the colors usually hold about 15 milliliters. On the black, you could probably put 20 to 25 milliliters in it. Getting the exclamation, and I'm running a solid blue, and you could basically replace it at that time and fill it, but I would wait. On this part of the video, I'm going to wait till I get the red X. That means you can't keep printing. So then I'm going to show you how to fill it and how to override that. 1600. It's telling me that the cyan has completely run out and I get the red X. Now, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to fill it. You want to refill the original cartridges. But like I said, we're going to have the COC smart chip with the built-in resetter, and then we're going to have refillable cartridges with some improvements that we thought were needed. We've added a poppet valve. Open up the door. It's going to go over. This is a little area where it's going to allow me to take the cartridge out. You know, on this printer, you have to press this release lever. To me, Canon made this way too complicated. Well, I guess they don't want people refilling their cartridges. Now, if you've watched my videos before, I always get a little box and I make like a little workstation out of it. I cut it so it'll hold my cartridge when I'm filling it. This way if any spills off the side, it goes onto the box. I fill up a little plastic cup, make it have an old water bottle, and I can draw the ink up, and this holds my bottle of ink. Now that's the cartridge I just took apart. So now you're going to get the syringes. A lot of times the syringes will say discard after use. These are veterinarian syringes. Do not throw them away, and don't wash them out. We prefer if you don't wash them out, then you don't damage the plunger in the top. You get a refill tip, some sealing tape. This is aluminum sealing tape, and you get an air shutoff. I'll show you where that goes. But basically I take the tip and I cut a little bit off, make it on a 45-degree angle. This way it allows the ink to go into the cartridge and the air to come out. And then the aluminum tape will seal the filling hole, because these cartridges have no poppet valve. Now our refillable cartridges do, so they don't leak. It's an improvement over the Canon design, I believe. I don't know why they did it that way. It must be because it's cheaper to produce. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, we take the little plug in the center here. There's a air hole. That's where the printer actually blows air or pushes air back, but that's an open, so you want to get that in there and push it as far as you can, and that's going to seal. If you look in the little window here, that's the air. So it's the air vent that allows air in the cartridge so it'll print. Okay, now just to show you a close-up, see there's a little window you're looking at. I push that rubber plug in so it seals that hole. Now I'll be able to add ink. Now you can put about 15 milliliters of ink in these cartridges. The black will hold between 20 and 25. You definitely cannot overfill them, because the ink will come right back out the little fill hole. So like I said, I'm going to put 15 milliliters in it. The syringes are 10 milliliters, because a lot of times I'd rather you go slow and add ink than to have a big syringe and you accidentally push too much in and you make a heck of a mess. So now I'll fill up the syringe and start filling the cartridge. Build it up, it slides right in there. Then I slowly push it in. Just take your time. And then what I'm going to do every now and then is I pull up on the plunger to release any air that's trapped. So I'll pull up, keep going down. I give it a second, pull up, go down. Definitely before I take this syringe out, I pull up so I release any of the pressure. It's because you don't want the ink squirting up in the air. Okay, there's 10. Come up, go down. If you do it too much, you'll feel back pressure on that plunger. There you go. Okay, now I could put in about another 5 milliliters of ink if I like. See that? See that? I wanted to show you that. That's what happens if you don't pull back. If you don't create that little bit of a vacuum when you pull back, that ink will come right back out at you. That's why you don't want to overfill it. That's why I don't give you a big 30 milliliter syringe, because some people, unfortunately, some people will make a heck of a mess. There. That's it. Like I said, I can go in, I could try putting a little bit more in, but for the video, I just put 10 milliliters of ink in it. Now I'm going to take the aluminum tape supplied. Now I'm going to take the aluminum tape that we supply, a piece of that, and I'm going to cover that fill port right here. Right here we're going to fill. We're going to cover that with a little piece. That's very important. And then all the extra ink I have here, I can pour it back in the bottle. That's why I like using these little workstations. Okay, now I got the tape on there. Now let me point this out. This is pigmented ink. Do not use dye-based ink in this printer because there's a good chance you'll damage the printhead. So in our Ultra Pro pigmented ink, it's designed for this new Canon model. But now you want to wipe it off, and then any of the excess, like right here, just cut it right off. You want to dry it real good before you put the tape on. Now you can't use Scotch tape, electrical tape, duct tape, any of that type of tape. This is the only tape you can use, because when you put it back in, there's a little pin in there that's going to pierce this, and it doesn't damage that. So that's why we use this type of tape. There. Now, every time you fill it, you put a new piece of tape on. But you got to make sure that's dry, because if any ink is on that surface, it's not going to stick to it. Okay, now we can take out this and save this, by the way, because this is what you need for filling every time. You're going to put it in there. Okay, now we're going to go over to the printer and we're going to put it in. Just check it. Make sure there's no leaking for some reason. Now we'll go back over to the printer. Now this tape, by the way, is aluminum duct tape, but it's like an air conditioning tape, but not like cloth duct tape. So you can get that locally. Line it up. I'm going to push it in. There, you hear that click. That's important. Close this up. It's going to say processing. Wait a moment. Now remember, it had the red X. Now the X is gone and it shows very little ink. So that tells me that I'll be able to print. So I did not have to shut off the ink monitor, although it doesn't show me very much ink. So now I'm going to continue to run solid blues because I know that one's filled. And I want to see what happens. So far it has not stopped me from printing. But if you notice, you're not going to get an accurate ink level. So you want to make sure you can go in there and take them out and fill them when you want to. Printer again. I've got all, they showed me an X on the cyan and I filled it. Now it showed me just have a little bit of ink. Now if I wanted to fill these, no matter what you do, you can't get the cartridges out. Well, yes you can. I'm going to start to print a page, and then as it moves over, I'm going to unplug it. Then once the cartridges are over here to the center, then I'm going to show you what you got to do. There's what gear you're going to roll with your finger, and you'll be able to then bring the cartridges over and pop them out. I'm going to start to print something. Then when I hear it move, I'm going to turn off the power. I'm going to open it up right now and see if you can see it. It can't. But they were already over. So, let's give it another second. And I'm just going to kill the power. There. Now there's my cartridges. Now I can remove that piece of paper. Slowly slide it out. Or actually you could leave it and then it'll get pushed out when you turn the printer on. Now there are the cartridges. So I'm going to take out the very first one here, which is yellow. If I move it over to the change position and I try pushing on the blue release, it's not going to work. Now this is not going to be easy, but I'm going to try to get a camera shot. You have to move the camera here. There is a gear right up in here. See if I can use my other hand here. It's a big gear. I'm on it right there. There it is. Right over there. Maybe I get some more light. But it's right up here. I'm going to slide my hands up here. I can feel it. It's a gear. I turn it. Hear that click? I just turned it. Now I'll be able to take that cartridge out. Bring it over. And you should be able to push on the release and the cartridge should pop out. There. That's how you do it. Now you can take it over and fill them. You know, when it's filled, slide it back in, move it over to the next one. Now you got to remember, see what happens when I want to take it out? Ink leaks. That's what happens to these cartridges because they don't have a good seal. Now I have to do the same thing for every one. I got to go up in there and I got to move that little wheel. There it is, right there. So if I take this and I go in with my hand, and I'm holding the camera right now, and I turn it, you'll hear that little click sound. Then you'll be able to bring it over. You'll be able to bring that cartridge assembly over and take the next one. So let me see what this one here. I'm on it now. There, click. Now I'm turning it to the right, just to let you know. On that gear, and there it is. I'm turning that big gear right there to the right. Now I'll slide cartridges over again. Next one I'm going to take out. Bring it all the way over. It's going to be the black one. Line it up. Got to get it lined up. And you'll be able to squeeze this and release. Okay, I hope you saw that all right. I'll put it back in. Okay, now I'm going to close the printer back up. And then I'm going to turn it on. It's going to give me a warning that I shouldn't have shut the printer down. So I'll turn it on. Yeah, it's making a lot of beeping sound. Left those sheets in there because it's going to kick them right out. Going to kick a couple of them right on out. So I didn't have to pull that sheet out. They just told me I didn't shut the power off right. It's going back into processing because I probably have 4 or 5 in my queue. So it's going to continue to print them. I have an Epson down below that's going crazy since I shut the power off. Paper register, I said okay, and then it's going to continue doing something, and in about a minute I'm going to print something out. There again, this is Ultra Pro pigmented ink. It's been manufactured in for this particular Canon, these new Canon models like the 1200 and the 1500 do not use a dye base. We've done some testing, and if you get the wrong dye base, you'll just damage the printer. And hopefully you can get the right pigment ink. Canon uses an awesome pigment ink. When you see the copies come out of this printer, you'll be impressed. This is pigmented ink. Photographs are very good. It's actually a better printer, I think, than the Epson 4630, 4640 Workforce. Those solid blues, but I stopped it. Okay, now I'm going to print out something from the computer and show you how really good this printer prints. That's pigmented ink. It's awesome. Printing out. I got a question mark over the cyan. That's good. That means that that's done. All I have to do is just keep filling the cyan. So eventually you want to go to the question marks. Actually, they've improved it. I thought it would have to use the stop button to shut that off, but apparently on this model is doing it all by itself. Look at this. Look how nice that is. That's our ink, our Ultra Pro ink, and it's pigment ink. Perfect. I really like this printer. Really like it. And I didn't have to set it on best. I just set it on standard printing. And when we get our auto refill ink system, then you're just going to fill the bottles up. Another product from inkproducts.com.